decades, CPS systems across the country were desperate to find people willing to foster and adopt kids in the system.
But members of the LGBTQ community weren't allowed. It wasn't until 2016 that all state bans were lifted.
With advancements in medicine and changes in insurance coverage, biological children are also an option for same-sex couples. New parents Nathan and Kenneth shared how Aspire Fertility guided them through the process. Kenneth and Nathan, I think for almost every human being at some point in life, even when we're kids ourselves, will think, one day I'm going to grow up to be a parent. That meant something a little bit different for you all. It's a different kind of journey. You always knew you wanted to be a parent, right?
Correct. I think from the time I was a young kid, I knew I wanted to be a parent. I just didn't know exactly how that was going to come about. You know, I didn't know really what options were. And it wasn't probably until later in my 20s and early 30s where I looked into what these possibilities could be after we were together for a while. Then you find out that there's IVF, you can go through surrogacy, you can go through adoption, there's foster to adopt, there's a lot of possibilities.
You have a surrogate, and then there's another level of what you have to deal with emotionally because somebody else is walking around with your baby.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And usually that process starts after you've met her once or twice maybe. Maybe you've had a couple phone calls, and it's like, okay, carry him the best way possible, you know.
It comes down to trust. You're putting your trust into someone else. We knew that was going to be one of the things we'd had to do to go through this process. And I told our surrogate early on, I was like, you're a mom, you've done this before. You know what it takes to bring life into this world, so I'm going to trust that you can do that for us. And she was amazing.
What was it like that moment you heard the first cry and held him for the first time?
Oh gosh, I'll never forget it. Honestly, it was surreal. It all happened so fast. You know, he's born, and then they're taking him to the weigh station, and then they're moving you to another room, and it's just, I think I blacked out for a little bit, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
What surprises did you have, if any?
I think the biggest one, I mean, we talked about it, trust, but you know, you're going through this entire process, and there's so many unknowns. There's ups and downs through it. You know, for us, it wasn't until the third transfer to where we have our son. So there's a lot that goes along that you really don't expect to happen, I guess, during it. You know, the doctors tell you everything, of course, but until you're actually in it, you really don't know.
How did Aspire make this easier for you all?
We got a really good doctor the very first time around, and she just really laid everything out for us, and she made it really easy.
And she was there throughout the entire process. We would call, we had questions, we sent emails, she was always there to answer. The entire staff was amazing. I can't say enough great things about Aspire.
And what advice would you give to someone who's saying, look, this is just an option that makes sense for a biological child, and going through the process and trusting the process?
Everybody's path's going to be different. You know, some it might be adoption, some it might be foster to adopt, some might choose surrogacy, IVF. You know, there's no wrong way.
Find yourself a good doctor, a good support system, someone you can really rely on, because you're going to have the ups and downs. They're going to be the parties that get you through, because that bundle of joy is just, it's going to be everything.
You know, I think I know a good doctor. I'm going to go talk to that good doctor right now. Gentlemen, thank you very much. And hold on, you think after they're 21 and out the door that you're done? You're not.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I guess this would all start with a conversation and a consultation with the couple to see which route they would like to go.
Absolutely. So I see a lot of same-sex couples. If I have a same-sex female couple, then of course my conversation is, okay, we have two options in regards to eggs. We have two options in regards to whose uterus. And some couples come in already having read about their options and already know a plan.
Like you said, same-sex female couples, one may decide to actually carry, right?
Exactly. I've seen it each way, where it's just me first and then maybe my partner, or I'm going to be the only one carrying, but I want to carry my biological child and my partner's biological child. Or we want to carry each other's biological child. That's called reciprocal
there's some
IVF.
options
So
there.
there's lots of options there.
With same-sex male couples, they can't carry, but they may decide that both of them can have a surrogate carry biological for each one.
So I asked them the same question. Have you guys thought about whose sperm you want to use? Some people say, nope, just me. Some people say, we both want to be involved in this process. And then of course we talk about how do we select a donor egg, a gestational carrier. We have third-party coordinators that work specifically in our clinic, so that way they feel like hopefully their hand is being held along the way, because it is a journey.
What would you say is the biggest surprise for a lot of couples after they go through this process?
That not everyone has the same journey. We want nothing more than complete smoothness. The first step we do, there's never any hiccups, but there's biology, and it is not perfect. And so I always say it's more of a marathon versus a race, so knowing that there might be some ups and downs along the way.
Which is basically not different than, in some sense, than just people having
Natural
children.
conception, absolutely.
What's it like for you to see people come in sometimes feeling hopeless and then realize that dream? And again, also knowing that that dream can happen in a number of ways, whether it's a biological child or a child who they get through adoption if they need to.
There's so many ways to make a family. My job is to provide all the options that are available to them. Their chances of success, right? I can give the same statistic to two couples that maybe have similar background, and one couple will say, that's okay, I'm going to take that chance. And another couple will say, given what you told me, I want to take a different approach. So my job is to educate, to give them their options, and then I help my patients figure out really what makes the most sense for them in their family building.
Dr. Kreisman, thank you very much.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me.
To schedule a consultation at Aspire Fertility in Houston, visit aspirehfi.com or give them a call at 713-730-2229, where every path to parenthood is supported and care is designed for all types of families.